Welcome to the Business Matters Podcast, episode number 15 from the Wind Technology Studio here at the Chamber. Thank you to our media sponsor, Royal Credit Union. I'm Kelsy Schultz. I'm the Young Professionals Director here at the Chamber, and our guest today is Hannah Connor with Chippewa Valley Technical College. She happens to be my incoming YP board chair as well. Thank you for joining us, Hannah. Do you want to start off and just giving us a little bit about your story?
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here on my first podcast. So like Kelsy said, I am Hannah Connor. I am employed at Chippewa Valley Technical College, and I currently work with Student Central there. So I oversee our team of Student Central representatives. That is not my first role at CVTC. I've been at CVTC for about 4 years now, always within Student Central, starting as a representative myself and working my way up to the assistant director position that I am now in. Before that, some of you may know me from the Y. I was previously at the Eau Claire YMCA before coming to CVTC. And like Kelsy mentioned, I am a part of the Young Professionals Board, and I will be the incoming board chair for 23-24, and I'm very excited about it.
Hannah, how would you say business has been in Eau Claire?
I would say from my perspective that business is booming. I would say we're getting back to pre-pandemic times, which is really exciting. It's great to see a lot of new businesses popping up and businesses expanding. It's really an exciting place to be right now, I think, as a young professional, and seeing all of the great businesses that we have to offer in this community in the different industries as well. Awesome.
And how did you get involved in YP?
I actually found YP on my own, which is kind of weird, I think, because now I feel like we're everywhere. But at the time, I was just kind of playing around and looking for different professional development opportunities. And I found it and spoke to my supervisor at the time about getting involved and got her blessing and moved forward. And I just jumped right in. I started very small with what was in my comfort zone, but grew from there. And I just started going to different events, and it just grew from there. I really love the organization, so I wanted to continue to get more involved. I felt very comfortable initially with going to events like the professional development series, like Beer with a Boss, those type of events where you weren't forced to necessarily network. It happened a little bit at the beginning, but it was more so learning about different leaders in the community. And from there, I met people and felt welcomed and more comfortable, and continued to get involved with networking events, morning mingles, and eventually wanted to continue my involvement by stepping into a leadership role and being a part of the board.
Yeah, and I have been a part of the Chamber for almost 3 years now, employed. I've been into the Young Professionals role since December, and I can already see the impact that it has on the community and, of course, our business community. So let's dive into a little bit of the history of the Young Professionals of the Chippewa Valley, which you have heard us referring to as YP. Our mission for Young Professionals is to engage, educate, and elevate young professionals by offering diverse opportunities for networking, professional development, and community involvement. And the way we do that is we offer programming and events that hit those core pillars. And I'm just going to head it back over to Hannah to kind of discuss how you feel that impacts the community.
So as Kelsy mentioned, our 3 pillars are community involvement, networking, and professional development. And so with that in YP, we see that in a lot of different ways. So with professional development, you'll sometimes hear about our Beer with a Boss events where we bring in leaders so that young professionals can learn from those leaders, learn about their stories, how they got to where they are, and to learn some tips that they have for us as young professionals. We've done things like construction tours as part of professional development. We've done how to network. We've done talking about your own personal brand. Networking is, as it sounds, networking. It's similar to what the Chamber offers is business after hours. We do similar events that are geared specifically towards young professionals. So we offer morning mingles, and we also offer happy hours. And then our community involvement pillar, which is my favorite pillar, is where YPs give back. So we have adopted a portion of Phoenix Park, where we clean that up at least monthly. We find a lot of interesting things, but we clean up that park once a month through April through October. And then some of our other events center around Sponsor a Family, where the predominant use of the funds is at Christmas time, where we buy presents for local families. And so we do a lot of different fundraisers around that. And my personal favorite event is when we do the shopping for it. So we take all the money that we've raised at all of our events that we collect year round, and we go shopping for those families. And we go in teams, so it also becomes more of a networking piece because they split us all up. You don't get to pick your teams. And we go out and we shop at businesses that are a part of the chamber, and then we come back and wrap presents together. And it's my absolute favorite event. And how I see these different pillars and the mission of YP impacting the business community is we are working on developing or assisting in developing young professionals that are going to end up being the leaders in the community in a short amount of time. Many of our young professionals are already prominent leaders in the community, and so I think taking the time as young professionals of the Chippewa Valley to cultivate those leadership skills and help them grow into those roles and become involved in their community is extremely important to business.
Yeah, coming from my perspective, I obviously started as an intern here at the chamber my senior year attending UW Eau Claire. So got my foot in the door that way. And now almost 3 years later, I've started the young professionals role since last December. And I just think it's interesting that being with my demographic, I am truly a young professional. So it's nice to be able to relate to the membership and, get to the bottom of what people really are looking for when they're coming to young professionals and what they're trying to get out of it, both personally and professional, of course. I also think I have a unique position being that I am the director and help make the decisions, help organize everything, but I also am a young professionals member in this community and business community. So I think that's just a unique opportunity to really be part of the membership and on the, directing side of it and what I can be getting out of it. And of course, that involves my professional development, community involvement as well.
One thing that I think is super interesting about young professionals is that we do serve a large age range. So we have members from 21 years of age all the way to 41 years of age. And one thing that I have found is really interesting is we learn a lot from chamber members and from going to different, business after hours events and bringing in leaders to speak at our Beer with the Boss events. But we also learn a lot from our own membership and have the opportunity to network with some really prominent leaders because it's an interesting position to be in when you're serving people who are fresh out of college or maybe still in college at 21 to then those who are more than likely much more established in their career at 40 years old. So it's really an interesting perspective and position and organization to be in when you have such a vast age range of people who are at different points of their life and different parts of their careers. And one of the things that I know the chamber focuses on a lot, and so does Young Professionals, is getting those graduates from Chippewa Valley Technical College, from UW Eau Claire, even from UW Stout to stay in the Chippewa Valley. And I think that Young Professionals is an organization that is poised to help them do that. We frequently partner with Chippewa Valley Technical College and UW Eau Claire to do networking events and to come in and talk to their students about not about CVTC. We frequently go in to talk to their students about young professionals, and it's really cool and rewarding to see those students then show up at a networking event and to put themselves out there. And we think that that helps bridge that connection of realizing outside of just your small campus zone, what Eau Claire has to offer to you. I think I am very much a big fan of Eau Claire. I actually, when I graduated, I grew up in Eau Claire. I graduated high school and I was like, I'm getting out of here. I am gone. I went to the University of Minnesota for a year, went down to Whitewater by Madison Walk. I was like, I'm out. I'm out. And I came back for a year at Chippewa Valley Technical College. I went there as a student off and on while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And after I graduated, I came back home because it was close to with my family, and my husband was at UW Stout. So I was like, okay, I'll come home for a little bit while we figure out what we want to do. And I cannot see myself leaving. Like, Eau Claire has changed so much since growing up, and it's really a place to be. There's something for everyone. There's something for families. There's always something going on. Like, we have a really awesome community. The business is great. If you're trying to raise a family here, it's great. It's wonderful. I just had my daughter in December, and I'm really excited. Like, I'm already itching like to get her children's museum membership. And I'm like, she's an infant. What's she going to do? But like, there's just so much going on here. There's so many things to be a part of. The quality of life here, coupled with the cost of living, is so phenomenal. And it's such a great place to be. There's so much going on. But if you ever feel like you need something bigger, we are poised in a perfect position you're an hour and a half away from the Twin Cities. You're 4 hours away from Chicago, 3 hours away from Milwaukee. Like, you can go do those things. And so I think we're just in a great spot. And I think there's a reason why we win all these awards as like Little Portland and like all these cool awards, because people recognize when they come here that this is a great place to be.
Yes, I would have to agree with all of that. Speaking of awards, Mrs. Hannah Connor happened to be our Outstanding Young Professional of the Year award winner at our annual meeting back in January. Would you like to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I was super surprised. So, I mean, my only inclination, I would say, is that we were literally in the hospital after giving birth, and my baby had come about 4 weeks early. And my husband, while we're in the hospital, turned to me and goes, "Oh, well, since she came early, we could probably go to Oh, What a Night." And I was like, okay, like, weird that you're bringing this up right now. But yeah, you're right. We can probably swing that now since it's not within the week of our due date. And so that was my only inclination, but kind of had forgotten about it after we signed up and things like that. So I was truly surprised to literally, while I was sitting in the audience, my name was called, and I was very nervous to give a speech. I had to give a little speech in front of a lot of people, but it worked out. It was all good. I'm very humbled to receive it. I truly love YP. I love everything that it stands for. I love being a part of it. I think it is so impactful to young professionals, and especially those who, I think it's just the perfect segue for those who are wanting to be involved in the chamber. And the chamber is not intimidating, but when you're seeing people who are so established in their career, who are older, I think that being a part of young professionals poises those individuals. It's the perfect merger into the chamber and into your career as a professional in Eau Claire. And so I'm very passionate about it. And so I'm just happy to have won it. It's great. But I'm going to just keep continuing to do what I do because I love YP.
Yes, it is very well deserved. And I can say Hannah is the exact example that we hope to get out of our young professionals. And obviously your relationship with the chamber is probably closely tied to your young professionals' involvement. Can you touch on the relationship with the chamber from like a CVTC standpoint?
Sure. So one of the ways in which it personally affects my work at Chippewa Valley Technical College is that I oversee a team of predominantly young professionals. And so it is great to be able to include them in the young professionals offerings as well as the chambers, and to show them what's out there and connect them to their community. Additionally, I think one of the really cool ways in which Chippewa Valley Technical College relates to the chamber is that the chamber is focused on business, and CVTC is preparing. We directly work with industry professionals with our programming. So we offer over 120 different programs, certificates, technical diplomas, and we work directly with those business leaders, the corporations, organizations in our community to find out what they need in their future workforce so that we can poise those students to be prepared to enter that workforce. So we directly work with those individuals. We use what's called advisory boards for our programs, where we have people who are in industry, in that business. They serve on that board that helps dictate what curriculum looks like, what they need, what technology that students should be trained on, what skills that they need so that they are poised to enter that workforce and contribute and give back to the community and to business and professional development.
So, as you know, this is the Business Matters podcast. So we always ask our guest, why does business matter to you?
Business matters to me because it impacts everything that we do. All of the, well, in terms of, everything that we do is impacted by business. You need to go get your car fixed. That's impacted by business. And additionally, when we think about, one thing that we like to talk about at CVTC or Chippewa Valley Technical College, whichever way you want to refer to it, one thing that we talk about is almost everything that you need to do is business. So if you want to get a cup of coffee, that's business. You need to get your car fixed, that's business. You need your teeth cleaned at the dentist, that's business. And one thing that we like to talk about at CVTC is that our graduates, they're doing that. You can go to any of these places and you can see, you're probably seeing a CVTC graduate. They are the people who are, you have a CVTC graduate here working at the chamber. They are the people cleaning your teeth. They are fixing your cars. They are providing you care in the hospitals. They are on the front lines in the COVID-19 pandemic as respiratory therapists. They're your firefighters. They're your police officers that went through our law enforcement academy. They are your chefs in the restaurants through our culinary program. They're doing your hair. So these young professionals, and they're CVTC graduates, they're UW-Eau Claire graduates, and they are the people who are working in business and are touching your life every single day, because you need business to live your life. Everything you do is business.
Awesome. Well, I would like to thank you, of course, Hannah, for being our guest today. We appreciate it, and it was a great conversation. Thanks to our audience that is tuning in to this wonderful episode, and of course, our sponsors. Just a few announcements upcoming for the Chamber. We have the Chamber Royale coming up in May. We have just published the next edition of the EC Life magazine, so be sure to get your hands on that. And this is the second to last episode of the Business Matters podcast for season 1. Be sure to tune in to the season finale at the end of April and be on the lookout in September for season 2. Thanks again to Hannah, and thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks so much for having me.